Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame. I hope y'all been having a good day. I have. As you can see by the title, I will be reviewing A Fall from Grace, which of course is a movie that is on Netflix that Tyler Perry put out. And it's a lot. One of my coworkers asked me, had I seen the trailer for it? And she lives for the character, the person who plays this character on the Haves and Have-Nots, which her real name is Crystal Fox, but of course on the Have and the Have-Nots, her name is Hannah Young. Is it Hannah Young? Hannah. Let me just say Hannah. I don't remember if her last name is Young because you know how her situation was. I think it is though. But anyway, okay, y'all, I gotta get my life right because a lot is going on. Before I get into that, just in case I never showed y'all this shirt, because I've had it, I just don't remember if I've ever shown y'all. Just in case somebody cares, I'll let y'all see the whole shirt and then I'll get started. So here's the shirt. Just pull it out for y'all to see it, read it, all that good stuff. All right, so y'all, when I tell y'all it wasn't even 2 minutes in and I was like, all right, now y'all doing too much. I'm tired already. This is too much. I'm like, y'all just gonna start off like this? When I tell y'all the name of the movie hadn't even come up yet, I was like, all right now. So it started out with this woman frantic on top of a house. She done went out on the window sill, outside or whatever, out there, about to kill herself. And there's this police officer trying to talk her down. And nothing he's saying is working. Gets to a point where she just falls to her death. And yeah, you could tell the police officer he's young and all the other stuff. So pretty sure that's something that's going to, kind of be traumatic for him to think about from time to time. Yeah, it was a lot. I was like, okay, y'all doing too much already. So then we start to see the same person who I realized, he is the same person. He's in bed with his wife. And, they just bayed up, sleeping. And I mean, their skin was everything. I ain't gonna lie. I'm here for it. Their skin goals. Yes, Lord. So then they show her going to work. She's a public defender. She's a lawyer. And Tyler Perry is her boss. I think he said that his name is Roy. But anyway, y'all, she's given this case specifically to just go say, hey, we're going to sign this paperwork. It's going to be an open and shut case. It's getting a lot of traction because of how crazy of a media frenzy it is surrounding, the information that was put out there about it, which was this woman went crazy and killed her husband. And, it's a black person. So, it's like, oh, she did the most. Like, they really like going all the way off. And he's just looking like, look, go get this done. Do what you need to do. And she's dreading it. Meanwhile, her coworkers are wishing that they could have the case and they thinking that she's lucky and she's just looking like, nah. And I mean, all they do is get a case and then they just want to plead. They don't ever want to fight. They don't ever want to sit up there and be like, let me try this case for some reason. And I mean, yes, I understand that resources are limited, but it's just to the point where that is what they are known for. Like, even in real life, don't nobody want no public defender. If you can afford to have a piece of an attorney, you would rather have that than a public defender in most cases, from what I've heard. So I'm just lucky I have a couple in my family that I could at least try to have on my side. I might have to pay them a little bit, but not what I would have to pay somebody who I'm not related to or whatever, because I don't have it like that. And even if I did, I would, still break my folks off like I'm supposed to. Because I ain't stingy like that. I don't be like, oh, you kidding me? So you need to just do this solid for me. No, they got to eat too. They still got bills. What that's supposed to mean? So anyway, y'all, she goes to the prison where the woman is being held. And she's just doing her usual, which is, hey, my name is this. I'm from the public defender's office. I need you to, did you do this or whatever? Like, she was just so nonchalant. She seems very much so like the people that you hear people describe down at the public defender's office. So I was just like, Yeah, I wouldn't want you as my lawyer anyway. And she was even like, I ain't here for it. I ain't asked for no lawyer. I don't want no lawyer. So the woman was like, look, if it wasn't me, it was gonna be somebody like me coming. So I mean, you were gonna have a lawyer either way. So what you want to do? So she was like, I had this plea deal. What they're offering is 15 years to life or whatever, and whatever. So it's just at the point where the woman was like, look, I don't care what you got going on. All I know is I just want y'all to move me to a prison that's closer to my son, and I got a grandson. I got a grandbaby. I want to see my son and my grandchild. I don't care about none of this. I'll sign whatever you want me to sign, whatever. So, y'all, they have Crystal Fox's wig. Jesus, fix it. When I tell y'all, have y'all ever heard of, oh my gosh, wait a minute, y'all. I gotta pause this because y'all would know what I'm talking about. Hold on. Okay, y'all. I'm sorry. I had to look that man's name up. If you've ever been on Facebook or whatever other platforms this man is on, if you've ever saw Kerwin Claiborne, them wigs he be having on, it looked like the wig that they threw on her head came from one of the collections that he be wearing in his videos. That man be having me dying with them wigs. Like, if ain't nothing else funny about what he do, them wigs he be having on be towed all up the way down. And I be like, why? Why, sir? Why is we doing this? I don't understand. But yeah, her wig look kind of like that. I'm like, why? Why? Anyway, so she's talking to her, and she's just like, look, do what you gotta do. I don't care as long as I'm there, my son and my grandson. So when she starts to leave the room, Grace, which is the woman's name, she starts to kind of, cry. And so the public defender's kind of taken it back, like, okay, what in the world? Because she's basically like, yeah, whatever, I do what I got to do. I don't care about none of what you talking about. Just put me in a prison that's near my son and my grandchild. Y'all, she's gotten to a point where she's like, well, let me, go back and, do what I got to do. So she go back to work, and then her coworkers are like, girl, you need to do this, you need to do that. She has like a little, I don't know if it was a game night, some kind of meeting with her coworkers and stuff came over to her house or whatever. I don't know if it was at their house or at her house. So they're talking, and she's explaining to them what was told to her. And this guy, I don't know if y'all saw him on, what is the Tyler Perry show? He was on If Loving You Is Wrong. He was the one who, he had like salt and pepper hair, really, really nice looking man. But he had a wife, and he likes men too. Yeah, he was really good friends with Randall's crazy looking behind, that guy. So he was like, well, I feel like you could try this case, and why don't you try the case, and whatever. Like, he was like, man, I would do this or whatever. She ain't trying to hear that and was like, look, Roy wants me to just get this paperwork done and let it be an open and shut case. She said she did it. It is what it is. Ain't nothing I can do, whatever. Like, she has no confidence in herself. She's never tried a case. And it's like, girl, why are you a lawyer and you ain't got no fight? You ain't got no fight in you. You ain't got no fire in you. Like, I don't understand. So she, kind of starts becoming a little bit curious, and she starts digging into some stuff. So she sees different things, different photographs that the police shot or whatever, and the different people that are part of the crime scene investigation shot, and she's seeing the blood pattern, and she's seeing how it came out and all this other stuff. So it's making her question, is this something that shows that she really did this or what? So she asked her husband about it, was like, well, I'm looking at this, and this is making me think that the blood it's like going another direction. Like, is this something that she possibly could have done? Like, it was just a lot. Her wheels started turning all of a sudden. So her husband was like, it seemed like, you got a little fire going. It seems like you really are trying to do something now. So, y'all, they keep having a back and forth every, few minutes or whatever between her and her boss, Roy. And he's looking like, oh, well, have you done that yet? And so she looking like, no, no, I haven't done that yet. And then it progresses to, well, I think I could try this case. And he looking at her like, you're not ready to try nothing. I've been watching you. You're not ready to try a case. So what you talking about? Go on down there and do what I asked you to do. On what he know you got to say. Like, he's really trying to play this, I'm really hard, and what I say goes, you need to go do this. And then at one point in time, he's calling for coffee, like doing the most. And then like when he got the coffee, he wasn't here for it. I was just like, okay, Tyler Perry, I can't. So she goes and meets up with Grace again. And she's just like, look, I feel like something is going on that you're not telling me. She's talking to her, and eventually she begins to tell her story as far as how she got where she is. So and she gave her paperwork, let her know like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what they want you to sign. She's willing to sign it. She didn't sign the paperwork like, look, I don't care. But what you, like I said earlier, she don't care about all that. Do what you got to do so I can be near my son. So then one of the later times she goes and sees her again, and, you know, she finds out information about this woman who's her best friend, who is being played by Felicia Rashad. Okay. Y'all. So she goes and takes it upon herself to go and visit her best friend's house. So she called ahead and was like, you know, I just want to know if I can meet up with you, and would you be willing to talk to me about Grace? And so she was like, oh yeah, sure. Whenever you want to come is fine with me. I'll be here. She done came to her house. There's some woman in the window looking like, I'm looking like, okay, what is going on here? And so she was like, oh, don't pay her no mind. That's just one of the tenants. She ain't got no family, and, you know, nobody comes around like that. So she ain't got no family, so don't worry about her. So she invited her in the house, gave her a coffee. So she talking to her, and she was like, I don't know what's going on. I was just so sad to hear that that's what happened. I can't believe that happened. Whatever, y'all. So she was like, well, then it got to a point like you would hear a noise. And then she was like, everything okay? She was like, yeah, everything's fine. Then she kind of tried to, you know, rush her out the house. Like, well, you can come back another time. And she looked like, okay. So she went on here and went by her business, y'all. So she goes and she's talking to Grace, and Grace begins to explain her story. Grace is somebody who works at a bank. She's been working at the bank for quite some time. She ain't got no man. And her best friend is, she felt as though it's her fault that she even went down that road. And so she was like, what you mean? She was like, because I told her that she needed to get out of the house and she needed to meet somebody. She was in a really bad divorce with her ex-husband, who had a whole lot of money from a very lucrative company. And she came in the house, caught him cheating with the secretary, or came in somewhere and caught him cheating with the secretary. They aren't together anymore, whatever. So the son got married to somebody that she don't even like in their old house. And so one day her best friend are talking about it. She was like, those tacky drapes. And she was like, those are the drapes that I picked out. She was like, what? He up in there living with the new woman and got the new wife, and he still ain't changed out the drapes. I was like, Lord, don't nobody care. And he's a man. He don't care. And then the woman is young. She's like 5 years older than their son, because they have a son together who, of course, is grown. Y'all, she was just done. She was like, I don't understand why he would be so tacky as to do this or whatever. So she decided not to take any money from him. She has her own house that she was able to acquire on her own. I guess with the job that she has at the bank, she ended up buying it. She's into art to the point of where the house that she bought, she likes the style of it and all that. So she ended up doing renovations on it herself, and she's so proud of that accomplishment. Y'all, so, like I said, her best friend ended up, introducing her, so to speak, to this guy. And she was like, look, she sent her this picture to her job, and she knows how much into art she is. And so she basically, told her to, go to this art gallery. So she knew that she would like the art. She went to the art gallery. She getting her life. She walking around. And so this dude walk up on her. And so he's talking to her about the different, the different things that are actually on display. And, she's under the impression that a woman did it. And, it's in Ethiopia. And so, the photographs are actually beautiful. All of that, all the cinematography, all that stuff is really beautiful. Y'all, The man gets pulled away, and little does she know he's the one who took all the photographs. She wants to travel. She knows about these places, but she's never been, and she's very into art. So as soon as they introduce him, who his name is Shannon, I don't know, she feels some type of way. And I mean, he struck up this conversation with her, and he was here for her. And she was like, oh, okay. And then they pulled him away and all that. So after, the introductions and stuff were done, he started, kind of mingling, and, everybody was congratulating him and saying, oh, this is so beautiful. While that was going on, she tiptoed on out the door. Because I don't know if she felt inadequate or like, oh, I don't know why I'm here, ain't nobody. So the next day she get to work, she has a rose and this one picture that was from the collection that was in there on her desk. And so she looking like, I don't know how this man knew where I worked, but he sent this, and it was already sitting on her desk when she came into work. So I'm looking like, Lord have mercy, he doing the most. And like, she really felt like, wow, like what is going on? And, there was a little letter, a little note that came with it or whatever, with the single rose and the picture. And so she really felt good. Like, she was like, okay, I don't know what's going on here, but nah. So she ends up calling her best friend and was like, girl, I don't know what's going on. And so she's like, girl, call him. You need to call him. Like, she's really like boosting her head up. And in her mind, she looking like, this man is too young for me. I'm not doing none of this. Like, don't nobody want me. I'm old. Like, what is the catch? So the man keeps doing all kinds of little things and, to try to let her know I'm here for you. Like, and she's just like, I don't know if I trust this. He young, whatever. And, he's really trying to present himself as this established photographer. Y'all, I was like, what is the word, Lord? So she, the most that she would allow him to do for the longest was to walk her, to her house. And then one night he was like, well, I know where you live. And, it looks nice on the outside, but, I don't know what it looks like on the inside. And so she looking at him like, bruh. So he remains respectful. And, they actually, y'all, look, y'all gonna have to help me understand. They had a date, right? Their first date out at this diner. And I'm thinking that it was a diner from one of the TV shows that he had, or one movie or something that I've seen him do. Not Love Thy Neighbor. It's some other diner. I don't know if it was If Loving You Was Wrong. One of them TV shows, I think. It looks a whole lot like that one. So, if it is, I remember it. But I think it is. I think it's from one of those TV shows that's not Love Thy Neighbor. Anyway, y'all, they go there, and I'm trying to understand, this is a random diner. You're not finna have me believe. Now, I ain't been to no diner, and I don't know how long. I ain't never been to no diner and saw people with champagne glasses and drinking champagne. I'm sorry, I ain't never seen that in my life, but that's what they was doing. They had a good time. They was out there until like 2 a.m. And when she went outside to, say her goodbyes to him, she was like, yeah, I can't believe it's this late. It's 2. I gotta be to work at 7. And, he's talking about some little quit. And, she is here for, both of them don't want the moment to end. They don't want the day to end. Y'all, they keep doing the most. They still meeting up. Y'all, it gets to a point where they go to this, I don't know if it is a random field or if it's a planetarium. It went somewhere where he had her, blindfolded, just with his hands, leading him. And she like me. She looking like, look, I don't know if I like this. I feel like high grass all around me. And he was like, look, what have we discussed? What have we talked about? You can't be like that. You can't just try to write something off because you just think it's going to be a certain way. So he ends up telling her to like turn around. She kept turning around. Then he told her to open her eyes. As soon as she opened her eyes, all you see are lightning bugs that just raise out of nowhere, and all these beautiful flowers all around her. Like, the moment was beautiful. And so she's turning. She's like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. And while she's in mid-turn, she was like, man, I wish I had a jar. You can catch these in a jar, and they're just so beautiful. This man is sat up here and got on a knee, and he proposing to her. And so she turned around, was like, oh, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? They asked her to marry him. She said yes. It was a whirlwind situation. Like, she's super duper happy. And it's like, as fast as they got together and got married and all that stuff, like, I guess this was the engagement night. She went on ahead and busted wide open and told him to bring it back. And I was like, ma'am, y'all. And then, like, I knew, we gonna get to that, but I already knew. So every time you look up, he taking pictures of her. After they finish having sex, he taking pictures of her. And she was like, what are you doing? He was like, you're beautiful. I want to take pictures of you. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Every waking moment, he's taking pictures. I'm like, okay, okay, that's cute. Okay, what's the catch? I know it's a catch. What's going on? So my mind is, like, okay, I know you. So what you doing? Y'all, she is having these moments where she's at work. He done popped up at work as the new, newlyweds and all this other stuff. He done popped up at work, brought her this bouquet of, what was it, tulips or something. And so she looking like, what you doing? He bust out the camera again, taking pictures. I was like, no. And I'm going to tell y'all why. But anyway, because I was like, okay, this ain't making no sense. But whatever. So, she's here for the moment. Like, she has fell for this man. Y'all, tell me why. One day, they show her in the bed alone. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So she get up, she walk down the stairs. He on the phone talking to somebody. So she was like, baby, who you talking to? He ain't say nothing to her. So then he was like, I'm gonna call you tomorrow. He get off the phone talking to whoever. So he was like, it's two things you're not gonna do. And that's question me or try to figure out what I'm up. You ain't finna question me about nothing. You ain't about to check up on me. So she was like, I missed you. That's all. And I was like y'all, he had that crazy look on his face. I was like, nope, what we not finna do with this. And it's like he had this like, I'm gonna suck my teeth thing. It's this thing that people like him do. And I guess they've seen that behavior somewhere before, so they wanted to emulate that on this movie. And I was like, nah, this is already going south. I ain't got time for it. So why you mad, sir? Y'all, so that was red flag number one. And so, she trying to think like, okay, let me go on back to bed now. He doing a little bit too much. So then, y'all, she go to work. They show her go to work. She on the phone with her friend, her best friend. And so she sees all these random people walk by, look at her office and keep on going. So she talking to her friend. She was like, okay. Keep on trying to talk to her. And then this woman come to the door and was like, whoever want to see you in the conference room. Whoever her boss was, she was like, yeah, I gotta go. And so she was like, what? Why you gotta go? She was like, well, my boss wants to see me in the conference room. So she was like, okay. So, y'all, they get her in the room. All the board members or whoever, they done walked in the room. She walked in the room. She was like, you wanted to see me? And then they were like, yeah, you have been stealing all this money. So she looking like, what? That has to be a mistake. They were like, nope, it's all your passwords, all your login information, all your signatures. You've been stealing for us. How could you? And I was just like, what? They ended up firing her. She was like, no, it has to be a mistake. Man, fired her something terrible. I was like, Lord, what is going on here? I was like, nah, bro, what we not finna do is this. So she get home. She calling her husband like crazy. He won't answer the phone. So her best friend is over there talking to her. So then he finally walked in the door and she was like, where have you been? I've been trying to call you. And he was like, okay. And he was like, what's going on? And so it just got to a point where she was like, were you on the phone talking to talking to the person who you was on the phone with? That's probably why he wouldn't answer the phone. I was like, oh Lord, girl, you done went off. So it gets to a point where her friend was like, he was like, well, can you excuse us for a few minutes so I can talk to my wife? And so she was like, I'm not going anywhere. And so she was like, that's my friend. And so he was like, really, this is what we're going to do? And so she went on ahead and told her, she was like, you can go on. I'll be all right. Whatever. So then she was like, look, what's going on with you? Why you weren't answering your phone? I had a whole lot of stuff happen to me today. Y'all got into it, and he gonna get mad, right? And he gonna pull out pictures. I'm like, what is the pictures? Y'all, he had all these random pictures of nurses or children or something. And he was like, I had a photo shoot. That's why I wasn't answering my phone. I was getting this together for you. I thought you'd like it. And, you know, she bakes cookies and all this other stuff. That is one of the things that she's known for, is baking cookies for children and, you know, helping and just being out there volunteering. Like, especially since she's gotten with him, like, he's made her want to do a lot of this stuff. And so she apologizes to him and all this other stuff. Y'all, this man that got on the phone with her, talking to the credit card companies, talking to the loan people, talking to all this other stuff. The guy that called the police the next day, they said ain't nothing they could do, whatever. They ain't do nothing. I mean, on the phone with the IRS, she's convinced that somebody had to have stolen her identity. So she's taking it upon herself to go down to the bank and talk to them and be like, okay, what's going on? So they looking at her like, yeah, we don't know what you're talking about, but you are behind on your mortgage payment. So she was like, I don't know what you're talking about. What you mean? I, bought my house. I don't have a loan. I ain't got no mortgage. What you talking about? They were like, oh no, you have a mortgage. You took out a mortgage exactly like 2 days ago. And I was like, oh no, this fool got her. What is going on here? I bet she got married 42 days ago. Or sometime within 30 to 45 days, they got married, didn't they? Oh, okay. So she ain't connecting dots. Off rip, she ain't even connecting dots. I'm like, girl, what is going on here? So, y'all, she's sitting up there like, this has to be a mistake. Got signatures that matches hers exactly. She was like, I haven't been here. Somebody had to have been stealing my identity. I have not been here to do any of this. That this man that took out a mortgage on her house. They just took a mortgage has been taken out on her house, y'all. I'm like, okay, y'all doing too much. It's too much. She ain't connecting dots. And I'm like, girl, he got you. Why you ain't catching it too? I ain't even in your situation. Why you ain't catching on to it, y'all? So she's still not understanding what's going on. So she's still looking like, I don't understand what's going on. Y'all, she took it one step further. She went and got video footage to see who in the world could have gone in, because the person had a notary and everything. They was like, no, it was notarized. And so she was like, what? What you mean? And then she gave her the address of, where it was and all this other stuff. She was like, okay, cool. Y'all, she went and got video footage. And then they ended up showing us that she done went home, waiting on him to come home. So he walked in, going by his business. She was like, it was you. He was like, what? Because she said it low. Like, she tired of her spirit at this point. She done said it low. She was like, it was you. This man that sat up here got on the phone with her like he really trying to help track down what might be going on. Why? Y'all, the house about to go into foreclosure. All of that. Them people said, you going to have to come up with $4,000 and some dollars. Was it $4,000 and some dollars? Or the house going to go into foreclosure? Like, her account was in the negative, because they had already been taking money out of her account. I'm like, girl, first of all, what is wrong with you? I check my account every day or every other day, because I know how I've had stuff that happened to my account that was random, and I caught it early, and I was able to get my stuff back. I ain't got time for the foolishness. Girl, why was you not looking at your account? Like, I need to know my check in there. However often I give it, I need to know my money in there. I need to know all my stuff right. I need to know my bills came out that I have set up for auto draft. I need to know everything is in order. You ain't finna sit up here and get me not never again. So she ain't even looking at her account. So, girl, you is fine for that anyway. So I'm like, how your account get in the negative like that and you ain't even know? Like, what in the world? So she done confronted him. And so he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, she done threw her phone on the table. She said, check your phone. This fool to open his phone up. And all he sees is the video showing him going in the bank doing the most. So then he turned into Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I'm mad. And then I'm just like, bruh, you not finna be mad at me and come at me sideways. And you were the one who's done all this. Like, what do you mean? Y'all, this fool turned on her so quick. He told her, we are together. I don't know if you know it or not. I don't know if you know the law or not, but I know it. We are together. We are married. And I can do, I was like he did the absolute most, y'all. Y'all, it got to a point one day she came home from wherever she was at. She ain't got no job. Like, she ain't got no job. Like, her job, when the people who fired her was like, you owe us however much money and you better get it back to us. And if not, you gonna go to prison. I was like, Lord have mercy, what is going on? So, y'all, one day she came in from wherever she was at, came in the room. Oh, she was, going and, making sure, trying to figure out what was going on. Y'all, she done came in the house, this man in here screwing some young girl. I'm like, oh God, no. She already done went through this with the husband, the ex-husband. Like, come on now. Lord. So then this man done told her she need to get out. What you doing in here and all this other stuff. He done got up, slammed the door in her face, locked the door. Girl, you done got locked out of your own bedroom in your own house that you paid cash money and all this for your blood, sweat, and tears. And he was like, oh, she was like, oh, I didn't know your mom would be here. And I was like, oh God, no, you didn't. And he was like, yeah, where were we? And went back to having sex with the heifer, y'all. She down in the living room, the sitting room, or wherever she was at, y'all. He walking the heifer down the steps. And she was like, well, hopefully we won't get interrupted by your mom again. And I mean, walked her out, slapped her on the butt cheek and everything, and she done went out the door. And he gonna have the nerve to come into the living room where she at and like rub her neck a little bit and go on about his business and go sit in the chair that's like in front of her. So he was like, yeah, you're a good woman. I love you, but not the way you love me and not as much as you love me. And I mean, he was talking that cash money BS to her. Y'all, all they did was show her in the background, get up and slowly walk over. And I was like, oh God, what's gonna happen? She got her back. I said, oh God, y'all, this man was talking. She got tired of her spirit, bashed his head in. He wasn't moving no more. I was like, oh, this heifer killed him. Oh my God. I was here for it though. I was like, oh my gosh, like that's how tired she got. Cause she was like, she tried everything to get, first of all, she tried everything to get this man out of her house. She said, I ain't going nowhere. I know my rights. Police came to her house and they told her, yeah, ain't nothing he can do. Like, he knew the law. He knew what it was. Like, he started telling her, you need to get out of this room and all this other stuff and go get me a drink, go get me a cigarette and all this. Like, he really started calling her out name, everything, call out her name. I was like, oh no. Oh no. I would have happily been in prison day one when he tried to pull that on me. He flipped the script real quick. Oh no. I would have been in prison. You ain't finna do me like that. My name already being drugged through the mud. I'm already probably finna go to prison because I can't come up with this money. I might as well go down for something I'm actually doing, which is gonna be killing you, sir. Like, you're not finna do this to me. That's what my thought process would have been like. Nah, you already ruined my life. All this, and they nothing come back to him. So it's like, nah, bro, you trying me. So, y'all, she bashed his head in. And then she, dragged his body across the room, and then she like threw it down some steps to the basement or whatever. Y'all, and then she got in her car and started driving. So then she called her best friend, told her what happened, and she went over to the house. The body wasn't there, and I'm like, ain't no way he lived. Ain't no way this man lived the way she bashed his head in. Like, she beat his head in. Like, I really thought it was beaten halfway to a pulp. Like, she beat him. She kept beating. And I mean, despite the fact that she ain't as young as she used to be, y'all, when she was on In the Heat of the Night, and even with her character on, she is strong. So I don't care nobody say when it come to that. So I'm like, girl, you bashed his head in. He got to be dead. What is going on here? Y'all, the prosecutor, she's still getting a lot of pressure from her boss. Like, you need to put that stuff in. You need to submit the paperwork. The people, I done talked to the people. They said you didn't put the stuff in. What is going on? Whatever. And so she was like, I think we have a case. She, wants to go back on what she said. And, she's willing to go to trial and all this other stuff. And at this point, she's lying because she hasn't agreed to that. But she's trying to convince her. Y'all, it got to the point. He was like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I'll do it myself. So She went in the next day or whenever, and she was trying to convince her. It was like, my boss is gonna come in here any minute. You need to say that you want to go to trial, and he just wants to just give you this sentence, and you don't deserve it. Trying to really convince her that she has a chance to win the case. Y'all, he came in the room and was like, "Hi, my name is Roy. Whatever. I'm from the public defender's office, and they're willing to give you 15 years and whatever, trying to figure out what she want to do." And so she mumbles, "I want to go to trial. I want them to try the case." So she had relief on her voice, in her face. And so when she left out of the room, he left out of the room first. He didn't even say hey, bye, nothing to the girl. Soon as he heard that, he went and knocked on the door so the guard could come to the door. Y'all, I was like, oh my gosh, no, y'all. He was waiting for her at the door when she came out. He was like, yeah, I've been watching you. You ain't gonna make it. It ain't gonna work. But as soon as it fails, because if you lose this case, you're fired and you're gonna ruin your own career. And so she over here looking like, so she at the house going through it with her husband. She can't sleep. She getting obsessed with the case. Like, it ain't making no sense. Y'all, at one point in time, she's talking to the best friend. And so she was like, well, she went and talked to her again. And so she was talking to her. She was like, well, if I tell you information that I already knew, won't I get in trouble with the police and all this other stuff? Y'all talking to her. And she was like, yeah, if you're talking to, certain people. So she looking at her like, I need whatever I could get to try to win this case. Let me know what's going on. So she talking to her and she was like, well, she called me, told me, what she'd done. So I went over to her house. When I got there, I saw blood, but I didn't see a body. So then she takes it upon herself to say something about how she saw her son. And she was like, the son was there. So she was like, well, it was really quick. And, I didn't, I don't know where there's nobody. And so at this point, she's thinking, ding, 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 ding. This is why, because she's trying to protect her best friend and her son. Because basically, her best friend knew about her going out here, leaving the body. She went over to the body. And she going to be seen as some sort of an accomplice or accessory after the fact. So she looking like, nope, I ain't trying to get my best friend caught up. I'm definitely not trying to get my son caught up in nothing. So no matter what's going on, I'm not trying to get nobody caught up. Now, she did not call her son and say, move the body. She did not call her best friend and say, move the body. The body was there. She was just like, look, body there, whatever. And the body wasn't. So everybody looking like, okay, where the body at? So y'all, they end up getting to trial. And ain't nobody here for what's going on. She keep looking back at her boss. He looking at her like, girl, So she's talking, trying to, do her opening statement and all this other stuff. Because the prosecution, they are already looking like, girl, all of this evidence that's against her is going to prove that she did what she did. And so she was like, well, all the evidence that he mentioned is going to prove that she's not the murderer that y'all saying that she is. And I hope to be able to convince y'all, the jury, of that. Y'all, it was just a lot, y'all. They ended up having moments where she ended up being called to the bench to talk to the judge because she talking about I didn't know about these phone records. There was a phone record that, of course, showed the time and the numbers of her best friend and Grace talking on the phone. And so she was asked on the stand, did you talk to her that day? And at first she looking, acting all hesitant. And then they were like, if you don't answer these questions or if you lie, you could, go down or whatever. And so eventually she just broke because Grace was like, look, if you get up there and try my best friend, I will get up and scream, I did it. Because she wanted to put her on the stand and get her to say certain things or whatever, which were true. But she was like, no, you're not finna get my best friend put in this. Y'all, everybody was in the courtroom was just like, Lord. As soon as she did that, the whole courtroom was tired. When she was like, yes, I knew about it. She killed him. Because at first she was like, oh, she would never hurt a fly. She would never do this. I don't know her to be a violent person. There have been people who have done things to her that would make anybody become violent, but she's not that type of person. She does all these things in the community. She is this nice person. She's this, like, I mean, really spoke well of her and then tried to lie like she ain't know nothing about the situation. So when they said, if you don't do this and you knew something about it, you gonna go down. That's when she started singing like a bird. So, y'all, I was like, oh God. And then when that information came out, the other people rest their case. She ended up resting her case because she felt defeated. And she actually tried to say, well, I didn't know anything about the court record as far as the phone records. And so they were like, yeah, it's not new in discovery. Because I'm like, oh, maybe she got a loophole. No, this heifer got the case 3 weeks ago, didn't read the case because they so used to just saying plea deal, plea deal, plea deal. Let's not even read it, plea deal. So she didn't even know nothing about the phone records that were in her hand. And they looking like, yeah, it was a discovery and ain't no excuse. And so the judge was trying to hit it was like, y'all better come back with your closing arguments tomorrow, whatever. It is what it is. Y'all, they come back the next day and it ain't go well. She over here like, I want to call. Talking about she wanted to call her best friend to the stand. And he looking like, that ain't how this works. You do know that this ain't how this works. You rested your case yesterday. They rested their case yesterday. This is not how this works. Y'all, she kept basically being in contempt of court and kept asking the woman to come to the stand. She stood up trying to come to the stand, and he was like, ma'am, sit down. You're not coming to the stand. You need to come to my chambers right now. She refused to come to the chambers to talk to the judge. She said, I ain't doing nothing. And they ended up throwing her in jail until she apologizes to the judge. She said, I ain't apologizing for nothing. Y'all, first person who rolled up is her boss, Roy. And he was like, really? So this is what you do. And so, y'all, it just gets to a point where she got tired of her spirit. And she was like, why do you care anyway? I'm already fired. He was like, yeah, you're right. And he was like, I told you, I've been watching you. You weren't ready. And, y'all, I mean, which was true. Like, he read her and it was the truth. And she didn't want to hear that. And then he was about to walk off and she was like, Roy. He turned around and she said, F you. And he went on by his business. Then her husband came and was like, baby, please apologize to the judge so we can go home. So eventually, she heard the verdict while she was in there, which was that, Grace was guilty and all this other stuff. They ended up having her colleagues, the guy and the girl, or mainly that guy, to do the closing arguments because she wasn't there. So they had to have somebody else from the public defender's office to finish up what they had started. Y'all, of course, it was verdict of guilty. She went on about her business. Y'all, tell me why when she was leaving out the courtroom, Grace, she looked over at her best friend. Her son was in there weeping. She looked over at her best friend. She saw this necklace that her son, she saw this necklace that her husband had on. And he said it was one of a kind, that he got it from over in Ethiopia and all this other stuff. So she see it on him. On her, she looking like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So, in my mind, my first thought is, oh, this heifer screwing him. What is going on here? They were screwing. And I'm like, okay, but he dead though, so whatever. He was one of the people that he was screwing. This is what my thought process was at the time, y'all. So she looking. And then she went on about her business. And then, like, she got back to herself. She started really thinking it over, like, okay, what the world going on right here? Then she started screaming for the guard and was like, I need my lawyer. I need to talk to my lawyer. So, old girl finally apologizes. Her husband drops her off, like, somewhere, and it's supposed to rain. So, she's deciding that she's just going to walk the rest of the way home, wherever she's going to go. Y'all, she doesn't know what's going on. She has not talked to her client. She over here talking about how she feel bad for the best friend and she feel bad too. So she's taking it upon herself to go over to the best friend house. She done went over to the best friend house. Y'all, Cicely Tyson is playing the person who was looking crazy and in the window and all this other stuff. And so she out roaming the streets. So she was like, oh, no, you're not supposed to be out here. I don't know where she is, but you're not supposed to be out here. And let me help you get back in the house. And so she's looking at her like, no, this is not my house. I gotta go home. I got my own house. Y'all, she trying to go on by her business because she's staying there in her house. Now, because she's an older woman and the way she's talking, she's thinking that, she got dementia or whatever. Cool. She done got her in the house. She was like, oh no, we're not supposed to be here. Y'all hear noise again in the house. So she looking like, I think they hungry. I was like, what? What's going on right here? Y'all, before that even got to that point, y'all, she said, this ain't my house. I just want to go home. That day was payday and everything. She got her social security check. She was like, I got to go to the bank. Y'all, the address of the notary was the address of this woman Alice's house, and the name was A something on the mail that Grace had been going around trying to figure out what was going on. Grace had ended up going to the house where the address was. It was an abandoned house. Mail was piled up on the porch and in the mailbox. And somehow the lawyer remembered that and was like, what'd you say? Something, Sycamore Lane or something. And she realized that it was her house. She was like, wait a minute, baby. Don't nobody got time for this foolishness. So by this time, when she hear the noise, she'll go down to see what it is. Y'all, old girl, of course, done rolled up. She done went to the grocery store and got her a bag of groceries. And the old girl done went down the steps. She trying to figure out what's going on down here. Y'all, she walk up on several human bodies down there chained up. Turns out this heifer been sitting up here getting older, elderly women and men or whoever, mainly elderly women, getting their social security checks and just profiting off of them. Y'all, tell me why. Old girl came in the house and she was like, hey, Alice. I mean, really trying to play that role. And then she was like, I didn't let her to come in. I told her not to come in here. She done went down the steps and she was like, you got her? Yo, tell me why. Shannon is alive. And that man is her son. I was like, what we not finna do is this. Oh, God, he'd have captured her. He'd have tied her up. Put her in some random part of the basement that had its own little door. I don't know if it's an old abandoned bathroom or whatever. And she had, like, her mouth gagged up or whatever, bound or whatever with this cloth. And I'm like, oh God, tell me why her husband is in the middle of arresting somebody and somebody talks to him on the radio and was like, check your computer, check the computer. And he looked like, oh God. I mean, he had the man up against the car, had the handcuffs on him and everything. He was like, stay right here. First of all, bruh, this is what I was like, okay, this is stupid, because he looked on the computer and he saw all the information come up with all this stuff tied to his wife. This man pulled off. He peeled out the parking lot, left the man with the handcuffs. The man looking like, I got these handcuffs on me, but okay. I was like, that is not realistic, but okay. All right. Anyway, he's speeding over to the heifer's house, the best friend house. And then, so when he finally get there, he knock on the door. It's supposed to rain. By this time, it is raining. So he knocking on the door. Him, Shannon and his mama, they talking down in the basement. And, you know, they hear knock on the door. Police open up, whatever. So she go to the door, try to act all nice and sweet. And he was like, have you seen my wife? She said she was going to come by here and speak to you. And she was like, no, who is your wife? Trying to play it off. He was like, you know who my wife is. She was talking to you about your best friend, Grace. She was like, oh, no, I haven't seen her. But if I do, I'll let you know. I ain't seen her. No. And then she politely closed the door in his face. I was like, man, what we not finna do with this? So he politely called her phone, and the phone started ringing because the phone on the table. And so she get the phone and try to, you know, I was like, girl, you guy. He done kicked the door in. He was like, where's my wife? Where's my wife? I want to see my wife right now. They get into a scuffle. And he ends up getting hit upside the head with a skittle. I was like, if he go down and don't get back up, I understand he should be knocked off his equilibrium and all that stuff. But you better get up. So he did. I was like, all right now. So he get to fight with her, and then he ends up putting her in handcuffs. He did the same thing to her that he did to the stupid guy earlier, and he put her in handcuffs, had her over the table, and was like, don't move. So as soon as he went on where he went down the steps trying to figure out where his wife was at, what she do? Go on by her business. Y'all, I was like, this is not what we do. I would have done that and had me hopefully, see, I think his second set of handcuffs, because I think they have like at least 2 sets of handcuffs. His second set of handcuffs, y'all, I'm sorry, I told y'all I'd do that, were on the dude that he left behind. So I'm like, bruh, if nothing else, I would have handcuffed her to something very sturdy, hopefully in that house. Even though I know the house is old, I would have handcuffed her to the stove or something somewhere. So he done went down the steps. He trying to figure out what's going on. He go in there. He see all these people chained up. He calling for his wife. His wife is like, he go into the door where she is, where she's sitting. And he was like, baby, are you right? Da-da-da. And she's like, woo, woo. Of course, the son come from out of nowhere. He get into a scuffle with him. It's bad. He done dropped his gun. So his wife randomly set it off. She done got up out the chair and broke the chair. And she run out the door. Then she got loose. She took the gag off herself. She got his gun. She shot this man up. She shot Shannon up. I was like, well, he wasn't dead before he dead now. It was so bad. Because she was like, ah, then she shot him up. I said, y'all, shot that man down. I said, oh, God, I know you dead now. You ain't dead. Then I don't know what kind of, what is it called? Green lightning you on. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Black lightning. I don't know what kind of green light or green lightning or whatever it is you on. But you need to get off that. Goodness gracious. Y'all shot him up. Y'all, all the information came out, y'all. They went to court and the woman got vindicated. The man was still alive, of course, y'all. I think this man lived through this. And if he didn't, they kind of left it up to interpretation. I don't know. Y'all, the heifer got away. I'm just like, girl, and this is a scheme. They've been pulling this scheme. They've been pulling this stunt for like 25 years. So I was like, what? They was getting people Social Security checks, getting these elderly women, doing this for years, and then they scammed her. And I'm like, oh no. So they was like, she's still on the run. What's her name? Sarah or something? I think her best friend's name was Sarah. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. I ain't want to say it at first, but I'm like, is it Sarah? I don't remember. This heifer on the run. I'm tired of my spirit. She got vindicated. And I was just like, Lord. So she leave out the courtroom and everything. They were like, aren't you glad it's over? She was like, it's not over. And I'm like, well, yeah, she right. Because that money still got to go. I don't know. Them people still probably going to be looking at her sideways. But I don't know. Y'all, then at the end of the movie, they going to show the heifer talking to somebody in a wig. Talking about some, over here trying to get a gig, like she finna, sit for somebody's mama or something. And she was like, oh, I heard that she used to work for this big financial company back in the day. Y'all, she done looked into the heifer, whoever the new person she finna scheme and rob, know what this woman's mama used to do. And so, y'all, I was like, Lord. So her disguise is some random wig, and I was just like, yeah, no, it's not even believable. Like, nah. Y'all, this heifer is still on the run. But anyway, y'all, the most happened in this movie. It kept me entertained. There are some people saying it was trash. Most people said it was pretty good. So, I thought it was decent. I was entertained the whole time. Like, I was tired of my spirit. All this stuff started happening, but it was good to me. So, if y'all saw the movie, y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think about my little recap and all that good stuff like this. I appreciate it. Anyway, I'm going to try my best with time. I'm going to try my best to at least get one more thing up today. And I'll see y'all later. So y'all have a good night. Bye.